Which is better for a website builder, Webflow or Framer? Lately, I've noticed a buzz on Twitter, designers debating whether one is better than the other. I am Fekry, and this is my first YouTube video. I've been a Webflow enthusiast since 2017, and I dove into Framer for the past year. So I'm excited to share my findings on this topic. Let's begin with Webflow. Webflow is a visual website builder, allowing designers to build websites and ship them to production that are beautifully designed and responsive without writing any code. I mean, you can if you want extra stuff, but generally, you don't need to write any code. A few years back, I wanted to learn how to bring my web designs to life and offer my customers more services, but I wasn't really all in learning code back then. That's when I stumbled upon a video for Ran Segal, and he was really obsessed with Webflow. His excitement got me intrigued. Even Webflow initial version, way less advanced than what we have now, was nothing less than pure magic to me. Those legacy animations, scroll-based transitions, it was all great. And over 40 project clients later and a good sum of money, I love Webflow. Until May 2022, a new superhero joined the room, and that's Framer. Many might not know, but Framer has been around for quite a while now. They've been really exploring the intersection between design, prototyping, and code for a bit. But their latest update though, the one from May 2022, is a game changer when it comes to website builders. Framer comes with an intuitive experience and interface, especially for those who are familiar with Figma. It would probably take you a week or so to get the hang of it. Now let's answer the question. Which is better, Webflow or Framer? We'll begin with ease of use. Webflow is generally well designed, and it's user-friendly to a very high extent for designers. Yet, a basic understanding of HTML and CSS concepts would probably be needed to get you started. Framer and its similarity to Figma makes it even easier to adapt. If you are already a Figma user, you're good to go. When it comes to ease of use, Framer wins. Now let's talk about responsive design. Both tools you can build beautifully designed websites for any breakpoints possible. They do it differently though. On Webflow, you switch between tabs to switch between different breakpoints, and you keep customizing your UI components from one tab to another, from one breakpoint to another. On Framer, you have all the breakpoints for your page visible on canvas, just like how it would look if you're designing for different breakpoints on Figma. When it comes to responsive design, I lean towards Framer more. Now, animation. Webflow is pretty sophisticated when it comes to animating things or having transitions or triggering a transition based on an event or a trigger that is outside the scope of the component you're trying to animate. You can create almost anything and everything, especially when you combine it with other things like GreenSock or Spline for 3D animations. Framer offers out-of-the-box presets and animations that you can activate with a click of a button. You can go a bit further and have more custom animations, but honestly, when it comes to animations, Webflow wins. Now let's talk about community and resources. Webflow has been around for quite a while now, and their long-standing presence has formed a larger community. There are many clonables and free and premium resources you can find online for Webflow, from courses to files and clonables, pretty much everything. The Webflow community is quite large. Framer's community, although it's smaller, but it's super supportive and it's growing rapidly. When it comes to resources, it is lacking behind a bit. For community and resources, Webflow wins. Now for this comparison item, I decided to combine a few things together. CMS, logic, forms, and third parties. Webflow has a pretty sophisticated CMS system. You can have multiple collections and reference items from one collection and another collection, even multiple items from one collection to another collection. And they have an API for their CMS, so you can control the CMS from tools like Airtable or Firebase or any external database basically. When it comes to forms, you can build pretty custom forms with Webflow. And with a little bit of code, you can extend the functionality even more. And of course, mentioning Webflow, we have to mention other companies like FinSuite. They've been building a pretty comprehensive library to extend the functionalities of Webflow when it comes to animations, CMS, and more. And if that's not enough, you can go to zapier.com and connect your Webflow site to even more tools out there. Framer, on the other hand, it's good enough for blogs or dynamic services section or a portfolio, but the lack of a CMS API makes it incomplete for me. Although they did say they are working on an API currently, but up until now, it's not there. So for CMS, forums, third party, Webflow wins. Lastly, let's talk about pricing. Webflow basic plan starts at $14 and it gives you up to 150 pages, and then it goes up to $24 when you want to add CMS functionality. Framer, they have a smaller plan called mini plan, where you have one page, you do not have CMS, but it's perfect for a one-page website and it's for $5. Then $15 for a basic plan and it goes up. Across the board, Framer is slightly more affordable than Webflow. When it comes to pricing, Framer wins. Now that comparison is not set in stone. Both companies are constantly listening to their users and iterating and evolving their products, so that might change pretty soon, pretty easy. Even though these tools are great and they allow us to go to heights where we weren't able before as designers who do not code, there are few things to be aware of while building sites on these tools. First would be performance. Make sure to always compress your assets. Go for SVG if it's a vector asset, go for PNG or WebP if it's a bitmap, and for videos, try not to host it on Webflow or Framer. Using the right HTML tags. And this is very important for accessibility and screen readers. A basic understanding of HTML concepts would generally elevate the quality of your site. The last thing would be CSS best practices. An understanding of the concept of breakpoints. What happened when you switch from tablet size to a phone size, desktop to a wider desktop. My advice, give both tools a try and see what works best for you. And remember, whether it's Webflow or Framer, the best tool is the one that works for you. Keep designing, keep exploring, and see you next time.